Nitrous is the belt buckle boy, and they'll be in Guild Bank before raid. Alright, can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so Mogushan Vaults, boys. I'm recording this, and the preface I'll give to you is we're going off the Jordy videos. I know not everyone likes him, and I know they're not always the best videos, but that's the strats we're going to use. It's not that difficult of a fight. There's one fight that is actually difficult in here, and it's just you hitting escape and not hitting the boss. Crazy, I know, but following directions and being ethical with where you put your damage. So, the way we're looking at it, now I'm going to go over here with stone guards. And again, you can still see my screen, right? So this is our new assignment sheet. We will have runners on each side. So what that means is these two squares on here. So one will be red and one will be purple. Or green. So let's do purple over here. So red and green over here. And then it's purple and blue there. Okay. So there'll be lines to paint. So at the start of the fight, there'll be 3 different times we do this, okay? The overall strat we're going to go with is stacking the dogs. So I will have 2 and the off tank will have 2. So we're going to stack them. And then there will also be there'll be a safe spot, okay? So I'm just going to put, for now, our safe spot is just going to be condom, okay? And then 1 dog there is to signify dogs, okay? That's how the pull is going to be done. On pull, we'll have 7 people on each side. That is also including healers. You will click this, and you will run and paint all of these tiles. What this does, it gives us a damage buff that we need done on pull at 75% and at 40%. After 40%, we won't be doing it anymore. Okay? Any questions on painting? Again, these fights you should be knowledgeable about them. You should have watched the Jordy videos. I'm just clarifying how we're doing them. Okay, any questions on painting?
Have there been assignments made yet, or that's still TBD?
That will be on the assignment sheet. Hunters, people who have movement speed. So like the first one, we're only going to have 1 druid. So a druid will be for one side. So that side you will be coordinated that druid will stampeding roar you for the first paint. The second paint will be boots. And the third paint, depending on DPS, might just be of movement. The other side will have the priest, and the priest will drop some feathers along the lines. There will also be a warlock can put a portal, but that's only for one lane that they can use to just port and go all the way down, right? So movement speed is good. Tiger's Lust can be cast externally, but we're looking at very mobile classes to do this. Healers will only be typically utilized on for the pull one. After that, it'll be DPS doing it, just to keep the tanks alive, because this is a hard-hitting fight on the tanks. The other mechanics that you just have to understand is the Jasper chains. You'll get linked to somebody else, and we should just be pretty much stacked up and close. That way you're not taking extra damage. We're not going to be breaking the chains. There's no need to. When we get close to about the energy, because all of them will be gaining energy at the same time, we'll move to our safe spot. Preventing us from going to our safe spot might also be a trap. That trap needs to be popped by, I will call for either Cyber or Doc or Zevros to use your immunities. So that's AMS or that's Cloak. And you will go and pop that trap if it's in our safe spot. We don't need you to go run around the map. Just keep our safe spot clean. Reason why, when we get to close to full energy, we will drop defensives. We will have them sorted out as to a barrier, Devo, SLT, AMS, smoke bomb, and then defensives from personal. The first explosion that we do will be using your own defensives, personal defensives as well. The reason for doing it on the first time, and if they potentially won't be up for the second time, is the more people alive longer means the boss has a better chance of dying. Now, I bring up that there might be a second explosion, that's if our DPS is low. If we just have people who don't know how to play their classes, which I'm hoping that's none of you, and I don't have to worry about that second explosion. It's just going to be fantastic. All right? So those will be assigned. This assignment sheet also will, you will need to have a weak aura, and it will say your name to pop your raid defensive at 3, 2, 1, and it will count you down. Okay? Doc and Cyber, you need to be very careful with your AMS, or AMZ, sorry. It's only 3 seconds now. So if you pop it too early or too late, it won't work for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you said there's going to be a countdown, right?
Yep. So it's basically you having that. I don't know if you listen to music, but like week 1, you really need to be dialed in until you just feel really good about your cooldowns. Just need to really be dialed in. I would recommend even like the couple days before, just rewatching the videos. Okay. If we don't have the DPS, again, once it gets to 75%, 75%, those runners will peel out, right-click the thing, and just run down the tiles. Hunters are going to be the best for this because you can keep doing your rotation while you're doing it. And then 40. After 40, we will not repaint. We're just going to focus and kill the bosses. Keys, I don't think Messi was able to make it. Keys, anything you want to add to this fight, or for explanation-wise?
No, you got it.
All right, so I'm just going to put this here, and this basically signifies our main tank and their prowess. Okay? So just the overall capabilities of this player. Questions about this fight. And again, I will say this, there's no dumb questions. Just ask them now. You not knowing the fight will just waste time, and the goal is for Thursday for at least 3 heroic kills. So this, Garage and Feng will be on. That's the goal for Thursday, and then Monday the goal is Spirit Kings. Hopefully, if we get more, Elegon and Will would be great. But if we don't, we're going to come back the next week with a better understanding and feedback given to people who just aren't executing. But questions on this fight before I move on to the next one?
I have a question.
Yeah, 100%.
Jasper chains, right? That's this fight, yes?
Yes.
Okay, so is there... I just want to make sure, because I've seen different strats. Where exactly are we chaining those at? Is it similar to like the Blood Queen shit?
You will be linked to somebody, right? So you'll be linked and say this hunter is out here and it's to you, bro. This hunter is going to move into 15 yards, so it doesn't.
Okay,
pulse.
so that's okay. So I would, yeah, okay. That was my question. Thanks.
Yep, we are not breaking chains.
Okay, I'm not sure I understand the painting. The ground will be painted, and then where it's painted, it will give a buff to someone standing on that?
Okay, I'm a visual person.
Hey guys.
Yeah, I have the video open too, but I just can't see. I don't really see the paint on the ground.
It's the squares, the little
So
Is
these,
that okay?
lit up squares.
So I just want to get to them on their pull. I want to just see where their pull is at, and he talks about this. So let's just go here. That's the pull. Shut up. Don't care. Uh-huh. Yeah. Mm-hmm. He's just going through boss abilities.
Skip to around 420. It's
Thank
around
you. I very much appreciate that. Okay, here it is. So it'll be time to paint, right? You'll see the things, and you see that line of squares. That's your line of squares to go down the tiles, and you just paint it.
Okay.
Does that answer that?
And then standing on
Three
that.
wide.
It's raid wide, so everyone gets it.
Okay, it's just, it doesn't matter. Thank you. Yes, I now understand.
Okay, you're good?
Yeah.
No. Okay. My kids have decided to be literal terrorists right now because they know I'm talking on my microphone. No, Esme, you just need to stop. All right. Any other questions on Stone Guard? All right. I deleted those. So Feng. So move this. So spear staff. We got the, where's the staff boy? Oh. They don't have all the markers. Oh well. So this is staff. And then we have shield fist. So this will be the shield and this will be the fist. Okay. So how this fight is going to start is 2 tanks. This is a tank also fight. The off tank and the main tank will swap at 2 stacks of the tank debuff. We will both have an extra action button. One is a nullification and the other one is the Shroud of Reversal. Nullification barrier typically is going to be used on the second use of what's happening. So when we go to Arcane, we're going to bring him into the room. We're going to use raid cooldowns for his first overall AoE raid damage. So those will be assigned with the countdowns. To do that, we'll stack take the damage, right? Typically, I'm thinking I want to put Lust on this because this one's just annoying to get through. The second one, if we get a second one, we will be stacked with the nullification barrier to reduce the damage as well as that. If you get, there is also going to be a channel. So when he's doing his AoE effect, there will also be an ability that you need to get out of. So towards, I would say when there's like 1 second left of him channeling the raid-wide damage, you need to move out, okay? Because multiple people will be given a debuff where basically they explode and they will kill the raid. Okay, everyone is familiar with the damage, the arcane shock that's coming out for staff. So basically, range needs a staff, and you basically will be here. Boss will be about 30 or half a second away. Blitz would say start moving out, and he would just move out to here. Range would be out there, okay? And you will blow up, and then you're okay. We rinse and repeat. That's the fight, okay? Phase 2, at about 25%, whatever tank is tanking him at the time needs to be watching the health pool. They need to get him before he reaches 75%. Like at 78, we need to start moving towards spear. We're going to do spear second, okay? With that being said, the fire will then be moved, dropped at where spear or arcane was. So this is where if you get the fire debuff, you will drop it here. Use a personal defensive to drop it. It will drop fire that moves. Melee, your job over here, you will need to be DPSing the boss from this side. Okay. Reason why he will do the draw flame, we don't want it to hit you. We will be doing the first draw flame, just like we did the first of the arcane. We will let the fire hit the boss. We will stack. We will use raid cooldowns and defensives. Melee, you need to also be dipping into that. That's AMS, or AMZ, AMS, your defensives. Second one, whatever tank, we need to make sure the tank that has a nullification barrier, they will then step to the side here when he does draw flames, and they will eat all of the flames as they try to move into him. So the wildfire will try to come in, he will block it, and there will be no draw flames damage, i.e. no raid wide, letting the healers regen mana a little bit more. Anytime they're not, like the damage, the tank will take bigger hits, and if they get to 3 stacks healers, that's really scary for the tank. That's when we should be calling for, if for some reason we have to take a 3rd stack, which we shouldn't, that's when tank needs to call for a defensive, a vigilance, a paints up, an H stack, things like that. That's Flame Guy. Before we get to 50%, we then need to move him towards shield. The reason you need to move him, if we don't move him enough, he'll pick a weapon, and we want to do this specific order. When he goes to shield, he'll pick up the shield. There's a couple abilities. We'll bring him here. The raid itself, I'm going to mark say the raid is square. The raid itself will move out to square before he does adds. He will drop a shield. We will move away from the shield, and we move as a raid out. He will pick 10 people in the raid to make little clones. At that point, for those clones, we'll have it assigned cyber, doc, or off tank. We'll grip Gorfine's Grasp them all to one place. A hunter will be assigned for binding trap, we will AoE them down the first set. So binding traps will go down. Monks will use leg sweep, things like that. Those AoE down quickly. After that, the next one, the nullification barrier tank, will then take the nullification for the second shield and stand on the purple shield and use it, and it will dispel the shield. The shield will disappear. You will do it before the ads, like as he's channeling it, the shield lands, he'll start to channel the sun and the ads. You'll do that. Ads will not appear. GG. Before the boss, like say we get to 27%, we are going to bring boss all the way over to purple. That's where the arcane started. We want the greatest distance for him to move to his last one, which will be fist. Okay, he'll go grab fist. We'll then tank the boss with him facing towards the middle. Tank will be right there, and I will assign one hunter an important job. There will be a macro for the off tank to use that has the Shroud of Reversal. What he is doing, his ability is he will target in a line. He will target this line, and the hunter needs to get hit with that lightning, and they'll get stunned, and they'll take a decent amount of damage. The tank with Shroud of Reversal will use a macro, which will put a buff on him right before it gets hit, which will allow them to clone that spell. The reason we're doing that is his second AoE ability is called Epicenter. That's a giant AoE damage. We cast that onto him, stuns him, negates the Epicenter, and boom, we take no damage and we just pump him. The second one, we will use Nullification Barrier, where we'll stack inside of it. We don't want to take that damage at all. So the reason we point him away is all DPS will be behind him, is that frontal will just be out there, and the hunter will be out there to bait it before it comes out, just so it's cast that way. And then also the first one, they need to be hit by it, just so we can do the Shroud of Reversal. At that point, if we get a second one, Nullification, after that we shouldn't get a third, boss will be dead. Questions on this fight, on any of the phases?
To confirm,
yep.
Your order is staff, spear, shield, fist.
Yep, staff, spear, shield, fist, correct. And it will be, and then we'll have all the assignments set up and things like that. Okay?
Yep.
Any other questions?
What's the range on Nullification Barrier? Is it like...
I would say it's like almost as big as a priest barrier. It's a little smaller.
Okay.
So it's a tight stack. And again, in progression, I can't stress this enough. Your damage, your parse is not going to be like the important thing. Let's kill the bosses, and like we'll get faster. We'll go after parse drops. We'll drop healers. We'll look. There's a potential for a single tank fight in one of the fights too later on. So, good question though. What else can I answer for this fight before we move on?
Thoughts on off tank having two macros, one for reversal on main tank, and then two for reversal on the hunter?
You'll have both macros, and the reason for that, during each one of these things, you can copy their ability and do damage with it.
Yeah, I was watching. I just wanted to see if that was where your head was at too.
100%. The only things I'm bringing up for Nullificate is for fist, just to make sure we're stunning.
Yeah.
Anything else? And we'll have it assigned. We want to keep the grid. We want things to be stacked for shield like crazy. And this is also going to be practice for Will of the Emperor. So DKs, you need to be good at that. It targets based on the target that you, so it can be friendly or it can be an enemy that you mass grip to. So keep that in mind. I don't know what macros or how you're using it. Just make sure it works before we get in the raid, please.
It's like everything within 20 yards, right?
Correct, but like if you're targeting a person, make sure if you want to do it right, and then we also will assign it. So if you're not assigned, I don't want them to go willy-nilly crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we'll go one if there's one rare, so say you're assigned first, Cyber. You would go first and say Doc sees that there's 2 that were missed. He will then go right after you. So that those other DKs need to be very reactive and ready to go if there's an ad that's out there, and then the hunters just need to have those binding traps down.
Do you want us to throw like chains of ice and shit at them, or like?
No, I want you to DPS them.
Okay. All right, cool.
I just want them to die fast as hell.
Okay.
And then take these assignments with a grain of salt. We were just throwing names in just to practice getting used to the sheet. So this does not indicate, who's doing what. All right. Garajal. This fight is pretty simple. Let me go, actually. Stone Guard is a lust on pull. Fang. I would like to lust on pull for the staff. I want to get out of that one fast. All right. And then here we are to Garajal. I'm going to mispronounce names, so enjoy it. Treat yourself. So boss will be there. We will have voodoo dolls. Here's the spirit totems. So spirit totem will spawn. Basically, on this fight, we will have teams where you will go down. It'll have a healer assigned and DPS. We're going with DPS that have defensives so they can use them while they're down there and still do damage. So like Ellie Shamans and things like that are good. Hunters, there's a list of things that are also good. The DPS for this fight, it's basically a tank and spank with ads. If you guys remember Dreamwalker, Valiona and ICC, you went to a different plane for the healers. They ran around and collected coins. Here it's the different plane. You're going down, you're killing ads. Or what's the 2 dragons in Kata for people who played that? Same thing. You go down there, you kill ads, but there's one very specific ad you need to help with. There are giant masks. There are technically 3, but a tank will be sent down 2. When that tank is sent down, they can see there's a hidden 3rd one that only they can see. And the way to mark that and to see it is it has red hands. So the tank sent down needs to look for that one and focus the one and go after that one first, because your vengeance is ticking when you're down there. The area effect will not stack your vengeance when you're down there. So use your vengeance on the one. The other 2 masks, because there's 3 masks for tanks. The other DPS can help kill that. You want to kill as many as you can down there, and then there'll be a verbal cue. Go upstairs. You'll have an extra action button. It'll be called Return Soul. And you'll go back up top. You'll get a debuff that won't let you go back down, so the next team needs to go. As you can see, there's going to be backups. If you're assigned as a backup, you need to be ready to be able to move to that totem. The reason why, another ability that the boss does is he links 4 random people with the tank. Every time the boss melees the tank, that damage is shared with those 4 people linked, and we are not going to send a linked person down because that's basically a death sentence. Healers for those 4 people, you need to keep an eye on them. They need to use a defensive, or you need to use a raid cooldown to protect them. We'll also have healer assignments as to who's assigned to what tank and stuff like that. At 30%, so this is a rinse repeat, very simple fight. Go down, kill as many ads as you can. Do not get greedy and come back up, because you do get a damage buff when you come back up, which is really nice. So you go down, you come back up, you have a damage buff. It's a reward for doing mechanics. Great, being ethical, I love it. At 30%, he stops spawning the totems, and every ad that's down there at 30% is up there hitting the raid. So the more of those that we have down there is really bad. Also, the tank will be taking more hits because he enrages, and he's just going ham on a tank. The one thing they bring up is he will focus on that tank. So the off tank can taunt to give a little brief breather, but he will refocus on that tank immediately. 30%, we can save lust for that, or we can pop it on pull. I think if we just pop it on pull, the faster you're out of the fight, the better. The longer you're staying with those spirits up, the worse the fight gets. And you can just chain tank defensives with raid defensives. So Pretty simple fight. If you're not assigned to going down, you're attacking the boss. It's difficult, I know. But if you get picked for that debuff that you're sharing damage, that's where you need to watch your health and use a defensive, Hellstone, things like that. So, very simple fight. Questions on Garajal? Oh, these markers, we will mark where the big masks are, because they spawn in the same spots. And again, whoever's assigned a team, the teams you need to help with those big masks you can see. The other ones don't have as much health. Any questions I could answer for this fight? Okay. Here's the shit show. Spirit Kings. There's 4 of them. So Meng's last. Kian. Subties 2. That's number 3. So, here's a long explanation of the fight. I'm not going to go into big deeps. We start with this boy. Will be stacked on tank. He will cast Annihilation, and our plan is to just run through him. That's the fight for him. He'll do his waves of his boys. Where are they? Flanking orders. So this is the dangerous part of him. So from 1 to 30 or 35%, it's one of the two. We're alone with him, and he'll do flanking orders. We need to move as a group with the tank, because if too many scatter like roaches away from Annihilate, and we need to move for flanking orders, and he comes back and does his massive blow, he'll just kill like 2-3 people. So it's very important to move as a group to be able to do that. For this boss, that's his mechanics. Move for Annihilate. He will also do a shield. Okay, we will very angrily probably and very frantically say, shield cast is coming. You need to hit escape on your keyboard. That is when Retro, our priest, needs to be ready to mass the spell. And if you cast it too early, I believe is it a 15-second cooldown, Retro, now?
I think it's 8.
8? Okay. It's a very long 8 seconds that we wait for that cooldown to come back up for you to mass the spell at shield, because if we hit it, those people are going to die. And then we're going to call for a wipe, and we're going to redo it all again. So, again, this is the fight that I feel like we'll be investing time in. And it's just because somebody's going to make a mistake by just attacking someone you're not supposed to. Just because your brain's going to start melting as we wipe on it. So your escape key needs to be bound to stop attack, or you need to have a full stop attack key bound macro. We mass a spell that, then we can keep DPSing the boss. At 30 or 35%, this boy comes out. That's when we lust. Typically what will happen is we'll have an Annihilate or a flanking orders will overlap with this man, his ability called Volley, where he'll do a large frontal cone into the team. And what we'll typically do is have a raid cooldown popped as soon as he spawns of like a barrier on the raid. So if they overlap, we're not going to die, or we'll use a Devo aura so we can move and get out of the volley and get out of the Annihilate or move from the flanking orders as a team. We will lust, we will finish off the boy, and we will then finish, he will be gone. So I'm just going to get rid of him. Questions on the first boy for now?
Do pets have to stop attack as well?
In the video, they said that pets weren't triggering the shield, but they did say that Mage's Frost Orb was.
Okay.
But you and I both saw Zana's and what was bouncing the ball. So I'd prefer if we just did a cancel aura for pets just to be safe, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Appreciate it. Good question. All right. Our next boy's up. Wait, any more questions on phase 1 with Kian? My wife would probably correct me because these are her people, and I think that's her uncle.
Cool.
Most honorable uncle. Okay, so new boy shows up. He has the frontal volley. I left the flanking order up because this ability is going to stay throughout the raid. So there'll be 2 lines of boys running through. You just have to not get hit by them. If you get hit by them, you're going to die. It's just retro. You're our only priest. If you see somebody either going to miss a flanking, be ready with life grip. Or Malk or myself, Tiger's Lust. I'm running Tiger's Lust. I don't know if you will be, but I prefer it.
Yep. Should be pretty easy to click the giant fucking boomkin.
Yeah. Okay. So flanking order stays. So this guy has his other ability is called Rain of Arrows. So it doesn't target melee, but if a ranged is too close, and Messy, this is where, you know how they said a pally will be treated as a melee or a range depending on what they're doing with a cooldown? You need to be careful with that one, okay? But
we'll be on CD, so I should be counted as melee, but we'll see if it actually works.
Yeah, 100%. So a volley will target, let's just grab a ranged marker, a ranged person, and if somebody else is too close, like say the hunters are hanging out with their best friend, let's put Schnurp right there because they typically like Schnurp for some reason, and so that's the hunter squad. If you're all together and they cast the snare on you, you're all rooted in place, and we have to run out to get that. Okay, that's not ideal because we have to come break you out because he will then quickly do a volley, and typically it'll be towards your area. So we need to get you out as fast as possible to avoid the volley. If it's a single individual, that's again retro on your discretion. If you want to just life grip that into melee, so melee can just cleave that down really quick. It can also be bopped. So Ego and Messy, you can bop the person if you feel it's, you know, you want to get them out quickly. So if you see somebody pinned out and ranged and volley's about to hit that, that is a discretion that you were like, I need to bop that person now. Okay. Besides that, his next ability that he does that stays is called Pillage. He will randomly jet to an area and he'll have a red outline of a circle that he will go to a group of people and he will start spinning, and if he does, he will give you a debuff. He will disarm you and make you do 50% less damage and take 50% more damage. Basically, you're useless for a while. I forget the timer of it, but anyway. Avoid it. It's the ability that stays. You're just watching for this guy, this big fat guy, jumping over here, and he starts to spin. Just move away from it. It's very simple. It's just like the flanking orders. If you get hit by it, it's just kind of like, are you serious? Come on. Let's breathe through our mouths less today. These bosses can be mobile. They will move. We're not rooted in one spot tanks, so we can reposition based on what's best for the needs of the raid. But ranged, you want to be spread. Typically a semicircle would be best. That way I don't have to have healers who can't reach all ranged. If you see you're too close to a healer, don't make them move in progression. Once we feel more comfortable, that's when it's like, okay, I can push in more. But that's guy number 2 at 35%. We will get, what's his name again? Xian. So any questions on our hunter?
Do we know if the hunter's pets, the master's call, will break if they get rooted by the arcane before
so
the
it's
volley?
not technically a root. It's a
okay.
Think of it as like blind. That's the debuff I'd compare it to, that you have no control of your character, but a bop will remove that. And then if you get bopped, you're gonna just have to be smart enough to do a cancel or a macro. But yes, good question also. Any other questions about our boy? Alright. So pillage is still in play. Then we have our next dude. So, as far as his abilities, he's going to make a puddle, purple puddle on the ground, and it will spawn a skull, and it will move, it will follow around a person who's closest to it. In the beginning, because until guy number 2 dies, a ranged has to be the closest person. Probably a hunter will move towards it, and you just slowly kite it along the outside. So we'll just say you're moving. Say the puddle spawns here. The hunter will then move in, be the closest one to it. If you see one person there, just move away. Don't be like that Minnesota Nice where you both go in. You're like, you both kind of move out. Just somebody says, I got it. Okay. Just do it. You'll grab it, and then that skull's going to follow you. I was unaware in the videos when I saw it, does it just bleed out or do we just damage it? It has 3.8 million is what I saw for health. Not too much, so if we just have hunters look at it and shoot it, we should be good. Once it dies, it'll leave a puddle in the ground. Once guy number 2 dies, what we'd like to do is, depending on where we're at, and I'm sorry DKs, but this is gonna suck for you. Right before it dies, say we have a puddle, one skull came in and died there. Puddle number 2, this one is say at 5%. 1 DK is gonna come out and grip this over because you can use death grip and stack them, and then you go out. Then it's gonna be the other DK's turn. For if we get skull number 3. It comes in, it's at 5%, you grip it in, boom, you come back in, DK number 1 is back in. Okay? We'd like to keep one part of the room dirty just because of other mechanics of, you got flanking orders going on during that. You have pillage going on that you have to worry about. Alright? The worst ability, and Huxley, how are you doing, man?
I'm good.
What spec were you planning on playing for this fight?
What do you
Combat?
mean? Gross.
Combat?
Gross. I can.
Yeah. The reason why, this guy has the ability of Sinister Calling, or Sleight of Hand. It really fucks up the tank. So what you do is, while he's channeling or starting to cast it, you make sure you get your Revealing Strike, have 5 combo points, and you are kidney shotting it. It will last for 8.1 seconds, which will completely negate this whole ability. So you basically take this whole ability off the table for the whole raid, which is huge.
Combat slave.
Jail.
Yeah.
Jail. Exactly. So that is your biggest thing. I would like to make sure you fully watch when you watch the video a couple more times for this fight, you fully understand this mechanic. This is your baby. Okay? All right. The other ability, so he has the skull, we have that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's that boy. I don't think I'm missing anything from him. Massive Crazy Thoughts, no, that's next boy. Delirious, next boy. Maddening Shout, so those are the 3 for the next boy. Skulls will still continue to happen. So we just need to be watching for skulls. All right. Questions on him? All right. Our last boy shows up at 35%. It's both better and worse. So Crazed Thoughts, Delirious, Maddening, and yeah. So we can interrupt Crazy Thoughts. Just kick it, don't overlap it. It's just there. He's gonna have rage and stuff like that. So when he's crazed, that's our damage window. So when he's below 50% rage, so he'll have a rage that counts up. We attack him, do a lot of stuff. Boom, 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 boom. Right? That's when we do a majority of our damage to the boss. When he goes into Delirious, he'll have a buff called Cowardice where he's running around and he's over 50% health or rage. If you remember Reliquary of Souls, one of the phases, if you did damage, you were reflected a certain amount of that damage to yourself, and that's the case here. So you need to be mindful watching his range bar while he's running around. He's untankable. And if your health is getting low, you just need to hit the escape key. Choose life. Okay? We just need to wait for him to get back into below 50% rage so we can start damaging again. Okay? So a bad time to pop cooldowns is right before 50% rage or as he's getting 50% rage. Otherwise, you are going to underutilize your offensive abilities. The next one that he does is the Maddening, and this is also a dangerous one. So Maddening Shout is when he AoEs and mind controls us all. We will group up. We will pop an SLT and a barrier, and then the second one, when we get it, we'll pop an SLT and a Devo, and we will all just AoE real quick to break the MC and then get out. For the first one, Malk, basically you have your finger on revival ready to come out of that. If we need to use it, that's when you need to be ready for revival. And then Tree, if he has used revival, that's when I would call for your trank. Okay. So you DPS him when he is below 50 rage. At 50 or above, you reactively damage him. When we call for that he's about to do his Maddening Roar, we group up with this assigned raid defensive cooldowns popped. We AoE to get us out of the mind control, and then we DPS him some more. The whole time, we have skulls. We have flanking orders going on. We have pillage going on. All of these other abilities add to it. So it's not, this is the easiest boss in here, part of it, but you have everything else happening at the same time. So it's basically huge amount of eyes weak aura for this fight. Just need to have your eyes open, be ready to change the path, change your reaction, make sure you're doing things correctly in the moment, and be open for taking over or stopping DPS. Again, your parse does not matter during progression. We will make sure we get the parse strats going, but let's kill the bosses first. So that was a long explanation for this fight. It is a long video. I do recommend watching this video a couple of times. I've watched it 4, and I still feel like I should watch it some more. This is the hardest fight in the instance. This is the one we will spend the most time on. I did forget the shield. Third guy has the shield. I forgot. Zien the Endless Shadow, the guy with the skulls. Sorry about that. Guy number 3 has the shield. This is Trank Shot. This is Purge. If you have an ability to remove it, it needs to be gone. Was it 11 or 14 stacks, Messy? Do you remember?
Or which?
Guy number 3, the second shield. First one is just a Mass Dispel from Retro.
Oh, no, it's like 10, 11 stacks, something like that.
Yeah. So, Shamans, there's 4 of you. You need to be just spamming your Purge button until that thing's gone. That's another we call to stop damage. If you do that, you wipe us. If you attack it, you wipe us. So we will say stop damage, hit escape, hit escape. On the video, when you watch it, you will see Jordy make some jokes about it for levity, but I guarantee you, there was one of them, 10th wipe, one of the things said at the top, 10th wipe to somebody just not hitting the escape button. And every time you're in the fight, if you're that far deep, each fight wipe is probably using about 6 minutes. That's 45, 50 minutes of just because somebody just didn't want to hit escape. So this is the fight, like I'm telling you, that personal responsibility is a massive. It's ethical damage in the right places at the right time. If we get this done quickly, we set ourselves up for a very good start to what fun is and what our goals are. Questions about this fight, comments, or concerns?
Quick question. How fast does the guy build up rage? Is it a timed rage, or is it amount of damage that's done to him? Is it percentage based, or is there...
I don't remember them describing how it was accrued.
Okay.
Anybody know the answer to that?
Pretty sure it's time-based, but don't 100% remember.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? All right. Hardest fight in the game was just covered. So again, please, please, please watch that fight. Pay attention to that fight. All right. Blue, purple, yellow. Kanama, green, cross. All right. So the boss, Elegon, be faced away from the raid because he does a frontal cone breath. Raid will be positioned. I'm just gonna put it over here. Will be positioned over here for ranged, and then melee will be behind the boss. So we engage the boss. We get a debuff where it increases your damage you take. Typically, what they're recommending is to get rid of your stacks at 10, and that's typically just all you have to do to drop your stacks. You come off to the side, you step off, and you step back on. This line is line of sight. So if you're out here, you cannot cast on anyone on the inside, you cannot heal anyone on the inside, you cannot taunt anything on the inside. So this is line of sight compared to right here. So you go off quickly, come back in, and do your damage and stuff like that. Drop at 10 stacks. If you're a class that has personal defenses, i.e. DKs have AMS, rogues have feint, cloak, those are what you use, but I would use them in a smart way. During Lust is probably a smart time to use it. We'll talk about when Lust is, or if we're trying to push more little orbs. But phase 1, we will start with getting a Celestial Protector. Tank who is not tanking the boss will come pick him up. He will bring him to the side. We will DPS him down. As he gets low, they will move him off the platform. At least 5 DPS need to step out there to absorb when he explodes, because if he doesn't, it'll wipe the raid. If not enough people are out there, they'll wipe the raid. So we will have the assignment. Let's go to Elegon. Soak groups, we will have it assigned as to who's out there, and we'll have a raid cooldown assigned to help absorb that of like AMS, Devo, AMZ, and then Priest Bubble Barrier, things like that, SLT. We will have that assigned for the soakers to keep them alive. Once Protector's dead, group, you will move back in a position over here. Tanks can do a swap. So tank who has a Celestial Protector will swap. Other tank can drop stacks. If DPS is low, because phase 1 is from 100% to 85, and we get another Protector, which I doubt, they'll pick it up. Otherwise, you just go clear your stacks and come back and help damage. Phase 1 will start at 85%. At that time, we will get the little energy shards. We have 4 people assigned to each thing. This is a thing I'm going to stress. I will look, if we're wiping on this, I will go stop and I will look at log and see if you're actually targeting this or if you're targeting Elegon. So 6 will come out. People will be assigned as to which one they're supposed to kill. You kill that, and we keep doing waves, and the boss will take an increase of 10% damage. The goal is to get 5 rounds to 7, because that's 50 to 70%. Okay? We focus those, and we passively cleave the boss. If they're like the earlier ones, because as they go, they get faster and faster. You won't be able to hit them eventually. We have to let them go in. So once we say, hey, let them go, you just hit the boss, and as they get close, you need to get off the platform. The people, as you're assigned, so say you're assigned to condom, say you're assigned to triangle, say you're assigned to cross, that's the side you will move to, and you will just move towards the center. Ranged, you will focus the outside one, and melee, you will start with the middle, and then you'll move out to kill these. During that, there will be puddles on the ground. They have a light blue outline. If you get hit by them, you will get 1 shot. These pillars will go up in the air. They need to be killed. Once all 6 are down, you go back into phase 1. Ads will spawn. Tanks need to pick them up. Healers, you need to use aggro reduction. Priest fade, salve on yourself. We're probably going to goat it with Messy, whichever side he's on, with Heal Run, Righteous Fury. And I'll probably put you on my side, Messy, because I'll use Ox Totem to just AoE taunt off you if I don't pick them all up.
Yep.
We will pick those up and not focus them. All damage needs to be on the pillars, and as soon as those pillars are down on all sides, DPS needs to go right onto the dragon. Okay? Rinse, repeat. Tanks will go. The tank that's picking up Elgon will with his ads. The tank other tank will bring ads and will passively cleave all those sparks down. Phase 2 is 85%, or next phase is 85 to 40% or 50%. That will go much faster because he's either taking between 50 to 70% more increased damage. He keeps that debuff the entire time. Once he reaches 50%, again, we will go back into this phase. During this time, though, between 85 and 40 or 50, we will have the Celestial Protector. Same thing. The first group that's soaked, we'll probably get 2 of those protectors the first time, maybe 1 the second time. So we'll say group 1, you're soaking. You'll step back out. You'll soak this with a raid cooldown, step back in. All while the whole time you need to be dropping your stacks. If you're dying to being greedy with your stacks, that's also something we're going to talk to you about. There'll be time where we just stack in the middle and we just put raid cooldowns and we just blast the boss because we have too much damage, right? That time will come. Again, we'll get our 5 to 7 stacks. After at 50%, we'll say let it hit. It'll go out to the outside, rinse and repeat, same thing. If we're getting the boss when we come back to 30%, with these orbs up, once we get the next set of orbs after that phase, we're just going to kill like 1 or 2 rounds of them. And then we're just going to say, forget those. We're popping Lust. We're going to pop Lust with those while targeting the boss. And we're just going to full send on the boss. Okay? That's typically when we're going to lose Lust. There's another time where he gets to, it's I believe like it's 30%. He will start doing growing AoE raid damage that you need to have raid cooldowns that some teams use Lust to. I don't think we'll need that. I'm hoping our DPS isn't that low that that's the route we have to go to save Lust 4, but we will be reactive in the moment for that. The one thing I didn't say about when these pillars come up, this middle floor goes away. There's been a lot of those videos where I just see somebody like on the edge and they're being greedy to get out. That's melee ranged. I don't care who you are, just get out. Don't die to that. Don't fall through the floor. It's a meme way to die. But that's the fight. Pretty simple. Questions, comments, concerns? Okay, let's keep it rolling. We're almost on last boss. So will of the ad phase. So Will of the Emperor, we have 2 tanks. They will pick up the ads when the big boys when they spawn. They spawn out of these ones. Yep. No, they spawn back there. Boom, boom. Rages spawn here, and then the courages are up here. They will target. And then strength are these ones. Okay, so those are the big ads. So let's just basically go through these. At the beginning, you will get rages. About 6 or 4 will spawn. To deal with these, Chanty, you're going to be on this fight and progression on your druid. Okay?
Okay.
Mass entanglement for you and Schnurp. And then the DKs.
Giggity.
DKs, you need to have mass grip. The goal of this fight is to control the rages and never touch them. So when they start to spawn, a DK will go out there and mass grip into one spot so they're tightly stacked, so a druid can mass entangling roots them and keep them there. And then basically the druids will be assigned as it's your turn, it's your turn. You also need to be ready in case it resists, and individually have entangling roots ready to cast. Hunters, we need you to craft survival hunters. I'm hoping that's what you're playing, but you need to have an entrapment spell or slow trap on them ready to pop in case they get out. And the healer and the druid needs to be ready to recast entangling roots. It's a 30-second cooldown, I believe. But you're basically maintaining that we never have to touch the rages nor deal with those sparks. which keeps more uptime and more damage on people. So these 4 people plus, you know, hunters, you know, just kind of keep an eye. That's your full-time kind of like almost thing. Keep an eye. The DK, you're going to be DPSing the strengths and the boss, so you need to be mobile. So I'd suggest maybe a Death's Advance talent for this one, unless it shares. I don't think it does. I think it's on a different tier. Just so you have a movement speed plus your boots ready. And then you can also say Tiger's Lust, and then your name, just so you have movement. DKs are not the most mobile classes in the game.
The Druids could also roar you if you needed it.
Yeah. So we grip them, we keep them rooted. More will spawn. That's one of the hardest things, because if these get to the raid, it's basically a wipe. Okay.
Are they stunnable? So
yes,
arrow.
stunnable.
Okay.
Yep, all that stuff.
Okay.
So binding trap, binding shot, you know, those things will work. It's basically like keeping those traps ready for those druids to get their mass entanglement ready to keep them rooted in one place for a longer time. So these boys will spawn after a certain point. They'll be picked up by the tanks and take it to their individual alcoves. But we're going to talk about the strengths next. The strengths are to be picked up by a plate DPS. They don't hit very hard, so that might be a DK, it might be the warrior, it might be the ret. But you will pick up threat, and they don't hit very hard. They do a telegraph ability of a ground effect. Just move out of it and kill it. DPS will be bouncing between these, encourages, and the boss. Once these die, you can then go on to the next one, but a plate DPS will be assigned to pick these up. Okay? Nothing special, just hit them, do damage, do threat. Next is the courages. These need to die. These are the #1 priority once they spawn. These will create a line to their tank. I am good at drawing lines. It's amazing. But they will have a line that goes to that tank, and if they reach that tank, they will kill that tank. So all damage needs to swap and switch that courage. And once it dies, it will leave that spark. Which one's the spark? Sure. And that needs to be absorbed by a hunter with deterrence or a rogue with cloak. They didn't bring up DKs with AMS. I don't think you can live it with popping enough cooldowns. I don't know if blocks or bubbles for immunities can absorb it. I don't believe it. I think they would have said it if it could. So it's really the hunters that we'll have rotated. We shouldn't have too many sparks coming out that we need to absorb, because we're keeping the rages in place. So these die, spark comes, hunter that's assigned. We can go to the assignment sheet. Spark soakers left. There's going to be 2 people assigned, and right, and then I'm also going to have a backup, okay? Because we'll have enough people. So kill the courages, kill the strengths, soak the sparks. There will be times in the boss fight where you'll see on the Foji raid timers that we have like 30 seconds or 60 with no ads spawning, and that's our time to just do this. For these guys, everyone's seen it. There's the combo. It's 10 abilities where it's telegraphed as to where it's going to be. Remember, the graphic is always, it's Blizzard. The coding is not there. The graphic will always be bigger than what it is doing. Okay, so plan that. Go wider. Don't get hit, because say you take 1 or 2. If you get, yep, I got it, buddy. If you take 1 or 2 and you take a third, you're dead. Okay, and it's just not worth that, because we also might do sacrifices later on. But if the tanks do it correctly, which I hope we can, they'll get an extra action button to use. It does 1 million damage. They have a 702 million. So we'll if once we have a downtime that we don't have ads popping, that's when we'll use Lust. So have your cooldowns ready for that. Second potions. We'll do pre-pots. This fight is just basically about control, staying calm, killing the ads, and this team being successful. If this team is successful, the That takes a lot of variances and variables out of the fight. That these are very easily controlled. Courages swap to, and dance revolution happening, and then the boss will fall. Anything I'm missing, Messy, keys that you want to add?
Not off the top, no.
The reason Chanty for Druid, it's the mass entanglement, and SLT is useless on this fight. There's no way unless you're projecting it, and we know SLT is a useless cooldown. So, yeah. Any questions from anyone about this fight? Last call.
Where do the ads that I'm mass entangling spawn from?
The rages, they'll be... So, do you see my screen now?
Yes.
There is 6 windows up here. So you kind of see the bottoms of 3. Okay?
Okay.
Rewatch the video, and it'll be like they'll be jumping out of these windows, but it's the far back of the room. And as they spawn, a DK should come. He sees they land, he groups them up, and the first druid goes, does their mass entanglement. And then a timer comes out for the next set of ads, for the next DK, and the next druid with the mass entanglement.
Okay, so it's pretty, like, if we are even within range of the boss, it would be like max range. We're right on the other side of the room.
Yeah. Because
not even particularly.
We'll start in the middle of the room. Ranged and healers is going to be stacked right here. There'll be a pulsing damage that's going on. It's not much, but like you keep a healing ground effect for everyone stacked here. People shouldn't be taking much damage besides the pulsing and the people tanking the strengths. The courages don't need to be tanked. You can't DPS them from the front. You're going behind them, and then the tanks will be taking big hits. Tanks, we need to make sure if we don't have a personal defensive running, we need to call for an external. So that's like calling for vigilance, that's calling for hand of sack, things like that. And you don't want to use these defensives when they're start before the combo or during the combo, because it's useless, because he shouldn't be hitting you. So anytime you're actively tanking the boss, you need to have some kind of defensive rolling, like for yourself, just to help reduce your damage taken until we start getting gear. This is a really tank heavy hitting raid, and this raid is all about movement from tanks and execution by tanks and healers. So I think it's to get you ready for an actual hard raid, which is Heart of Fear and Toilet's favorite, Heroic Toes, because he likes toes.
Toes!
Any other questions I could answer on this? Otherwise, I implore you, please watch the fight. If you don't feel comfortable asking me in the moment in front of other people, my DMs are open, Messy is open, Keys, just send the message. We want to make sure you feel prepared. I don't want you showing up to fight and say, oh, I didn't know that mechanic. Oh, I didn't know what that looked like. I needed to see the fight. If you're saying I need to see the fight before I understand the fight, like by doing it, I can understand like a portion, but there's so many videos from so many point of views out there. It just makes me kind of cringe. Plus the game's this old, so I don't feel this raid should take us that long to progress, so we can get to splits quickly. I also want to address splits, but let me close up for the raid. Any last minute questions again for this part? Okay, so splits will happen when progression is done. What that means is, so say week 2 we finally kill Emperor on Monday, okay? We will then say, hey, we're doing one more week of mains, and after that Monday of the raid week, you are expected to have your split tune ready. It needs to be in pre-raid bis. That's a lot of time for you to get the tune 90, to get it in heroics, which don't take too long, and there's going to be people just doing heroics and things like that. That being said, if you do get your split ready or sooner than that, if we start to see enough people with a split ready and geared, we're going to throw up some random signups throughout the week for 10 mans and see if we can get together 10 mans to get those splits geared before they they actually start. That's part of the community. And also, say you miss a raid, you can get your main in there too, and we can get your main some pieces too. Ultimately, I want progression to go as quickly as possible and gear to go out as fast as possible, so we're putting the best geared, best prepared roster for the next raids. Any questions on splits? You will not be getting a deck for your split tune. I can't give that to you. We went through a lot of gold getting them for the raiders. About the cooldowns, we still need your card cooldowns. We're trying to recoup as much gold as possible, and GDKP will be starting soon too. With that, we will take the scrape and use the scrape to fund Throne of Thunder crafting things that we need. I will be there in a second. Ultimately, we always are trying to take the gold and reinvest in the guild members and the guild itself to always improve and make you better. Questions on splits, though, for that? Okay. That being said, expectations for this raid, guys. I expect you to know what spec you should be playing, what talents you should be using on fights, have an idea of when your cooldown should be popped, and if you have questions on like when are we popping Lust, those are valid questions. Send the tells, we'll get the answers to you. I expect you after raid on Thursday and after raid on Monday that you be looking at your own personal logs and comparing them to guilds with similar kill times or similar, things like that, and seeing what you can be doing better for your rotation, your cooldown usage, and your defensives. This game is about using defensives now. Tanks, we need to be really good at calling for externals. They're there for a reason. They gave more than enough out there for everyone. We need to use them. If they're not being used, we're leaving and we're dying. That's terrible gameplay by us. I expect a lot out of us, and ultimately I will be there to support you, but it's a 50-50 road. If you're not doing your part to improve, I have to find somebody who is going to do that. So there's only been, since we moved to 25 man, there's only been 2 cuts, and I don't want to do more, but I am actively recruiting. I'm always going to bring the best roster possible. We have to run a bigger roster. We have parents, we have dads, we have no women in this guild. I don't know how I would handle that anyway. We have jobs that take precedence. So if you are rotated out on a boss, I don't look for you to take it offensive. If you are benched for a week, you should not take it offended. You will know through a Discord message or a verbal talk in private if you are not doing well in the guild, if there is worry about your position in the guild. There will be a conversation. Until that happens, don't worry about your raid spot. Worry about mastering your class and knowing the strats for the fights and doing what you can to improve our progression. Ultimately, this community is what I care about the most, and we will have more than just one raid going eventually. Just in the early parts of it, it sucks because leveling is in play and gearing. So those are my expectations. This was here to do for you. The same thing will be happening at Heart of Fear and Toes. I care about the guild. I care about the group. I work my ass off for it, so I hope you appreciate it. I appreciate your time. You're free to go, guys.